Consumer protection and measures taken by the government. Consumers are the greatest asset for the government. One of the major concerns of government is protecting the interest of the consumer and grants them rights of choice, safety, and information. The central government created a Department of Consumer Affairs in 1998 exclusively to focus on protecting the rights of consumers, consumer grievances, and to promote standards of goods and services. State governments too have created separate departments or directorates of consumer affairs for consumer protection. In 1986, the Consumer Protection Act was launched because there were sections of manufacturers, traders, and service providers armed with knowledge of the market and manipulative skills often attempted to exploit the consumers. Enormous pendency and delay in disposal of cases in the civil courts caused consumers to wait for years for settlement on even small claims. The salient features of the Act are: the Act provides for establishing three-tier consumer dispute machinery at the national, state, and district levels, commonly known as National Commission, State Commission, and the district forums respectively. As on date, 631 district forums, 35 state commissions, and 1 national commission have been established in the country. It is an umbrella legislation covering all goods and services, excluding only commercial transactions from the purview of the Act. A consumer can seek a case against any manufacturer and trader of goods or service provider, whether it is an individual or public-private enterprise or a cooperative society, etc., as long as the purchased or service availed of was for consideration. It provides setting up of a Consumer Protection Council at the central, state, and district levels, which is an advisory body to promote and protect the rights of the consumers. The provisions of the Act are in addition to, in derogation of the provisions of any other law for the time being in force. Though the responsibility of establishing consumer protection at the district and state levels are that of the states or the union territories, the central government has been implementing the following plans or schemes for improving the functioning of the consumer fora. Consumer cooperatives has been playing a role in the distribution of consumer goods, particularly in the supply of essential consumer items at fair prices to the rural community, especially in the remote, inaccessible and hilly areas. Consumer cooperatives were introduced with the objective to eliminate the middleman, to protect the wholesalers and sell to consumers at reasonable prices. Consumer cooperatives have a 4-tier structure comprising the primary store, wholesale or the central store, state consumer cooperative federations, and national consumer cooperative federations, that is the NCCF. The NCCF is a national level consumer cooperative organization set up in October of 1965 under the Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act. The affairs of the NCCF are managed by a board of directors, comprising both elected and nominated members as per the provisions of the bylaws of the NCCF. Computerization and computer networking of consumer fora in the country. A scheme of computerization and computer networking of consumer fora, known as ConfoNet, was launched during the 10th plan in March of 2005. The consumer fora at the 3 tiers throughout the country are being fully computerized and connected through a network for exchange of information, have access and facilitating quicker disposal of cases. The project is being implemented by the National Informatics Center on a turnkey basis. The evaluation of the 11th Plan ConfoNet scheme has been done by an independent evaluation agency. It is now proposed to implement a revised scheme of strengthening of consumer fora in the 12th Plan with revised guidelines. The Consumer Grievances Redressal Cell was introduced in February of 2002. It receives a large number of complaints from consumers relating to shortfall in supplies and expectations, deficiency in services which cover supply of defective household appliances including automobiles, TV sets, non-refund of fixed deposit amounts, non-realization of dividend from companies. The cell as well as Consumer Coordination Council takes up the grievances with the concerned authorities or departments for the redressal at the earliest. Consumer Welfare Fund. It was established in 1992 with the objective of providing financial assistance for the welfare of the consumer, create consumer awareness, and strengthen consumer movement in the country, particularly in rural areas. Under the Consumer Welfare Fund rules, any organization engaged in consumer welfare activities for about 3 years registered under the Companies Act of 1956 are eligible for seeking financial assistance from the fund. The various activities such as consumer product testing laboratories, mediation centers for consumer grievances redressal, Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries has been sanctioned a grant for establishing of a Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries Alliance for Consumer Care in facilitating prompt redressal of consumer complaints. Consumer Awareness. The 11th plan has seen a significant ramp up of budgetary support for consumer awareness and production, which has obtained top priority by the Government of India. The campaign has used all possible mediums to reach out to consumers in India, like mass media, All India Radio having access to almost 99% of the population, and on account of easy portability of radio sets for reaching out to the migrant population and construction workers and farmers who often carry radio sets with them at their workplaces. Advertisements have been released through DAVP in national dailies, regional and regional newspapers. A network of more than 300 newspapers and leading DAVP banners, hoardings, metro panels, bus panels, railway tickets, reservation charts, LCD screeners in railway stations and airports, neon signboards in railway stations, and airport exhibitions and trade fairs, etc. have also been used for the publicity. The department has got produced video spots of 30 and 40 seconds duration on various consumer-related issues such as provisions of Consumer Protection Act, banking services, medicines, travel service, grievance redressal system, MRP, ISI, etc., which are being telecast through Doordarshan and satellite channels such as Sony, Star Plus, Zee News, Star News, Doordarshan National Network, Kalyani program of DD1, Krishi Darshan, regional channels such as Sun Network, ETV Network, ZTV Network, Discovery, Sahara Network on Lok Sabha TV, Doordarshan Kendras, private FM channels of northeastern states to ensure that the message reaches out in the local northeastern region. The Department of Posts has disseminated consumer awareness messages through Meghdoot postcards to reach 1,55,000 rural areas, 25,651 urban post offices, internet, and all print advertisements of the department uploaded on the website of the ministry. An interactive TV serial, Jago Grahak Jago, for reaching out to northeastern regions, and an interactive radio serial, Jago Grahak Jago, was started. The significant achievement of the 11th plan has been to broad-base the publicity campaign such as awareness of the Consumer Protection Act, grievances redressal mechanism, standardization such as ISI, hallmark, etc., weights and measures, and comparative testing. The massive multimedia publicity to educate consumers and make them aware of their rights has a long-lasting impact not only on the end consumers but also on the entire manufacturing and services sector. Consumer interests in weights and measures are vital in their day-to-day life. In order to adapt the international system of units and to align our laws with international practices based on the metric system, uniform standards of weights and measures were established. India, being a member of the International Organization of Legal Metrology, was set up to realize worldwide uniformity in laws relating to legal metrology, weights and measures, and to make international trade smooth and practical. The Legal Metrology Act of 2009 replaced both the Standards of Weights and Measures Act of 1976 and the Standards of Weights and Measures Enforcement Act of 1985, which makes the system more transparent, outsourcing of verification activities of the weights and measures, and for uniform enforcement across the country. The Legal Metrology Rules of 2012 is under process. The Legal Metrology of Packaged Commodities Rules came into force on 1st of April 2011. According to these provisions, every package intended for retail sale is required to fulfill consumer interest declarations, the name and address of the manufacturer or packer, generic name of the commodity contained in the package, net quantity, month and year of manufacture, packaging, import, retail sale price of the package, and contact details of the person or office contacted in case of consumer complaints. The second provision of the legal metrology packaged commodity rule is mandatory declaration of retail price is to be given in the form MRP rupees inclusive of all taxes. 3. Retail dealers covered under the value added tax and turnover tax dealing in packaged commodities whose net content is by weight or volume or a combination in thereof have to maintain appropriate electronic weighing instruments with facility to issue a printed receipt. Now let us take a look at the key points. Consumer Protection Act in 1986 is a major breakthrough in safeguarding the rights of consumers for the Indian government. Computerization and computer networking of consumer fora in the country, that is CONFORNET, is the basis for the 12 plan guidelines. The 11th plan of the publicity campaign bringing awareness about various issues has made a lasting impact among people. The Legal Metrology Act of 2009 upholds uniform enforcement across the country about the weights and measures. The Consumer Welfare Fund provides financial assistance for the consumer benefit and a strengthened awareness among rural consumers.